Hello, I'm Jester Borris with I Want to Be a GM, and welcome to D&D Through the Ages Part 1. This video series explores the differences in the Dungeons & Dragons editions. We start with the White Box from 1974, and we go all the way through Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, the game that we're all playing today. This video is broken into 6 separate chapters, and it's taken from one of our more recent live streams. If you enjoy this video, we hope that you'll give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content from us, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications by clicking the bell icon. As always, we welcome your questions and comments, and so what we'd like to know with this video is what's your favorite edition if you've been playing for a long time. I really enjoyed 2nd, I've also played a lot of 3rd, and there's a lot of people out there playing 5th edition. And if you haven't played much more outside of 5th edition, let us know what you're playing currently. We always like to hear what's going on out there. If you'd like to find the places where we hang out, be sure to check the social links in the video description. In particular, we've got a fairly active Discord, and so if you'd like to join the growing community of game masters over there, you can hop onto Discord and share your best tips, tricks, and stories. We'd love to have you. In the meantime, I hope you enjoy the video, and until next time, I'm Jester Borris with I Want to Be a GM. Stay safe and have fun. Otherwise known as First Edition.
I like that. It is. It says right on the book, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and we all know it as First Edition.
Yeah, so as you can see, quite a lot of books here in our collection. The core books required to play would be the Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master's Guide, and the Monster Manual. But we got really good content that came out in the first Unearthed Arcana. And, you know, we sort of put that in with the core books. If you don't have the Unearthed Arcana, you're missing out a lot of the first edition D&D flavor.
That Unearthed Arcana, half of it was for the players, half of it was for the DM. And again, that's adding more and more material. So as you can see, these books are adding on to and expanding some of the abilities of the characters and their weapons, their spells, anything and everything that you need to go kill some monsters. And in fact, we ran out of monsters. That's why they give us 2 more monster manuals.
Yeah, Monster Manual 2 and the Fiend Folio.
So more monsters.
Well, some of the
target-rich environment.
One of the things I want to mention here before we get too deep into it is that the 5-box set we just covered was still being released when Advanced Dungeons & Dragons came out in 1985.
There's some overlap with that other material and this. So depending on what kind of game you were playing, you may use one or the other or both.
Yeah. So it's just one of the things that we were looking at too. The example Player's Handbook that we have over here is from the 12th printing in 87. So if the game released in 85 and they were on their 12th printing by 87, gives you Dragons.
Yeah, I started playing in 1986.
So one of the things we got here with Advanced Dungeons and Dragons is we brought forward a lot of the classes that have been added. So now we see Thief, we see Assassin, we see Cleric, we see Paladin.
And for the first time...
Oh, not until the Unearthed Arcana. That was an add-on, but we now get...
Bard.
Oh, wait, Bard was in the first... Yeah, that's right.
Bard was first edition, baby. He's right there talking about all his special abilities with that little ukulele. You know the guy. You know him.
I got so excited. Yeah, Barbarian doesn't exist yet until Unearthed Arcana.
Unearthed Arcana. They talk about Conan the Barbarian, but they don't have a barbarian. You're just a fighter. So, I do want to kind of answer into one of the questions we had there a little bit ago. I was talking about the lethality of first edition versus 5th edition. And I just want to read just a quick little blurb out of Player's Handbook, page 105. There are numerous ways of restoring lost hit points. The most mundane is by resting and allowing time to do the job. You know, you don't feel so good, you stay home from work, right? Okay.
You mean like my 8-hour long rest?
Yeah. So for each day of rest, 1 hit point shall be restored. 1 hit point for an entire day of rest. So you might count that as your long rest. I do know that in 5th edition, the long rest, everybody gets everything back and it's all joy. We reset the game and keep on going to kick ass. That's one of the things that I'm not a big fan of.
Sure, but it does fit 5th edition's more epic character thematics. So that's fine. But 1st edition was definitely much less forgiving when your character took hit point damage.
Yeah, in first edition, I can't remember if it's in the players or the Dungeon Master's Guide, one of the two, or a description of both. But you're unconscious when you hit 0 hit points, and you are dead. Only resurrection will bring you back when you hit -10.
Yeah, and when you do hit 0, you're considered to be bleeding out or waning in life, whatever, however they theme that. And so each round you tick down -1 until you get to -10.
The dwarf. Here we see him working in the mines, because we know that's where they all like to be, right? And the ranger. Woo!
Yeah, staple of D&D right there. One of the cooler classes.
And here we go. The thief. Look at that. Knife to somebody's throat. Poor guy. He's leaving. He's going home. Going to give his wife his paycheck, and he gets robbed. You think she's going to believe that? No. No. There's also a concept. There's a lot of things in D&D. Remember, we're adding on top of everything that came before.
Yeah.
We're adding and we're adding and we're adding. So here is something that is added. This is the first place I can find it.
Hey, bring up the 2 camera.
Encumbrance.
Not working on the 2 camera.
Encumbrance. I'm carrying a whole bunch of stuff. How much stuff can I carry?
Right.
How does that affect my strength, my endurance, my ability to move, my 10 movement? How long can I carry my maximum? What is my maximum? So all of that came here in 1st edition. We're encumbrance, and you start having all of these different charts that telling you how it affects your movement, how does it affect your ability to fight, and just any
your
number of
strength
things.
score affects how much you can carry.
Yep. Yes. Okay, we've now got a concept here. We talked about this a little bit in some of the other ones. The initiative.
Mm-hmm.
So in the white box, you were determined your initiative by your type of weapon.
Yeah, range.
You had a ranged weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And even in the boxes, it'll talk about using a dice 6. The players roll a dice 6 individually. The DM rolls a dice 6 for the monsters as a group. Lowest number starts, and you hash it out until somebody's dead. So in 1st edition, in the player's handbook, we're going to do a dice 6 for the party, a dice 6 for the monster. Each round, low number starts, no modifiers, 1 die 6. We get to modifiers in 2nd edition. So an initiative, determining who goes in what order is one of the things that I found in comparing all the different versions. That's something that does change every version. They make little tweaks to it here and there. When we get to 3rd edition, it really changes again. So where's my spells? I know, I got it here. That's why I put all these tabs on it, so I can find it quickly. So, Mr. Producer, what's my favorite spell?
Fireball!
So, Fireball, in 1st edition, we're going to have a range of, it says 10 inches plus 1. Well, that's 100 feet plus 10 feet per level. So I can really throw it out there. And my damage done is a 6-sided dice for each level of experience. And there is no limitation.
Again, you have to be a 5th level spellcaster to access the 3rd level spell. So
Right.
we're starting at 5d6.
And they have the same description here as in the blue box. I should have brought this up. But wands do 6 dice. Magic staffs do 8 dice.
Yeah, so
And here they say for the first time, scrolls do 5 to 10 depending on the writer of the scroll.
Yeah, scrolls were not mentioned as part of any spell description until first edition's description here. But magic scrolls were still an element of the games, so it's nice to be able to see them included.
So 1 die 6 per level of the caster forever. So when you get your 10th, 12th, 15th level magic user, oh, buddy. You think that's an old fart that can't hardly walk, gray beard and staff? You better leave him alone.
Well, that was the payoff for being a spellcaster. You get the D4, so you're super squishy. But the glass cannon was true. If I'm going to hit you with, we have, at 5th level, we're going to start with Fireball, Lightning Bolt. I've got Cloud Kill, Chain Lightning, Power Word Kill. When you get 9th level spell, you're just dead. Why? Because I'm super powerful. You're dead. So...
What do you call a 12th level wizard?
Yeah, what do you call a 20th level wizard? It's whatever
anything he wants you to.
Yeah, so
anything he wants you to.
We still see this sort of power available to 5th edition wizards, but they're definitely much more utility in the wizards in the lower level because they can survive. Marching order was a huge deal in dungeons, and it came about because all your squishy guys had to stay in the middle. So that when you get attacked from a rat in the back or the thief trips over a tripwire he didn't roll to see, you don't accidentally lose your big hitters there. But
it's not wrong.
No, but as it was like, all right, everyone gather around the small people.
and that's not written about in a book anywhere. That's something you figure out as a new player to the game. As hey, we're getting our butts handed to us. How about you guys that almost die just waking up in the morning trying to tie your boots? How about we put you over here behind, they call them tanks now.
Yeah.
You got your heavily armored fighters. We're going to put you up front.
Have a hit point pool.
Yeah, so you can brutalize everything, and then we'll heal you as you need it.
Hey, Ark, thanks. Was there anything that you wanted to see in the books particularly? Because we've got the full stack here, first edition.
Absolutely.
And these books are in really good shape. This particular one has been in the collection for a little while, but hasn't been played with a lot. We've got some others that are a little bit more well-read.
Yeah. I've got a few that are being held together with duct tape. Yeah. I'm sad to mention that I put duct tape on my books, but I took them to Desert Storm with me. Yeah. So it was duct tape or they were just not coming back. So moving on, we got in the first edition, Player's Handbook, we also have here psionics.
Right.
And this again is the ability to use your mind and cause damage and injury to other creatures. And I tend not to use it because if you use psionics, you're going to attack psionic monsters. And everybody likes to have an advantage to different monsters. Well, if you're using psionics, it definitely gives you an advantage. Until I start throwing psionic monsters at you, now you're having a bad day, and everybody's having a bad day.
Yeah, everything was good as a cleric when you're fighting the undead until you come up with anti-paladins.
Oh,
It was all fun and games until then.
So let's talk about this for a moment.
Now this concept came up a little bit in the gold box where we're dealing.
It was in the red and blue as well.
Okay,
talks about your character alignment, and in fact, this chart. Oh,
that's alignment. I'm sorry, I thought you were doing the from over here. I thought it was the planar chart.
Oh, that's next.
Yeah. So alignment.
The alignment tables came out in the red and blue box.
White box broke it down to lawful or chaotic. Yeah. That's all they were concerned with.
Not good or evil.
Yeah, law and chaos.
Yeah, that was it. So here in the red and blue boxes, we talk about lawful good, neutral good, or is it lawful good, lawful neutral, lawful evil, neutral good, true neutral, neutral evil, chaotic good, chaotic neutral, chaotic evil. And as a DM, I am true neutral. You can cry all you want. It does not get you any special favors.
More chaotic neutral, but
So, but here in first edition, the red and blue box definitely has the concept, and depending on your game, that identifier for your character would be played, and some DMs really push it, and some DMs are kind of lax about it. I tend to really watch it until you do something that violates it, because it defines who you are as a character at your core. Lawful good we know is the paladin. Well, here I just give you some basics. So let's start at chaotic evil. Chaos describes your ability, your belief in yourself as an individual over the rights of a society. So you're chaos. Lawful defines your belief in the society structure to direct the behavior of its individuals. It's a lawful society. Whether they're doing good or bad doesn't really matter. They are lawful. And good, hopefully everybody knows what that is. Evil, everybody should know what that is. Neutral believes in a balance of the two, of good and evil, of law and chaos. So somebody that's absolute neutral is going to be like Switzerland during World War II and try to stay out of everything until they see one force over the other is a unfair advantage. They're not necessarily going to fight for the bad guys unless there's a real unfair advantage. So you're going to watch that. So chaotic evil, chaos, belief in the self over the structure of the society, and evil, we all know that. An example of chaotic evil would be Darth Vader.
Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah. I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Emperor Palpatine. I was getting excited watching my notes. So Emperor Palpatine is chaotic evil, where he wants himself. Yeah. I will rule the universe. I am the Senate. He was, in his mind, everything. Mm-hmm. Darth Vader is lawful evil. Lawful because he believes in the society structure to tell their members how to act.
Yeah.
So he's very evil. I mean, he's killing people left and right, even a room full of kids. Mm-hmm. But he will do everything that his emperor tells him to do by the letter. Everything.
For his new empire.
And for the new empire. Absolutely. Yeah. So let's go and look at the good side. So some of you may not know who this TV character was, but Dirty Harry, who was the Chicago cop using a .44 Magnum to clean up the dirty streets of Chicago back in the late 70s, early 80s. There's a bunch of movies. Dirty Harry, go watch them. They're freaking awesome.
Clint Eastwood.
He is chaotic good. Mm-hmm. He believes in the right of the individual. He doesn't follow laws too much, but he does believe in your right to be unmolested. So if somebody, like one of the movies had a rapist running naked down the city street with a bloody knife, he shot him because he knew that they raped him and he wasn't going to have that in his streets anymore. So chaotic good. Now we're going for lawful good.
Well, so lawful good's really interesting, but you could just pick any of the Arthurian Knights of the Round Table.
Any of the Knights of the Round Table.
You know.
Law, I believe in the structure of the society in which I defend. Yep. And good. The knight in shining armor protecting the children at the burning orphanage.
The quintessential all day.
Yeah, that is who they are. And of course, lawful neutral is extremely neutral, and chaotic neutral is Daffy Duck. Because he is chaos personified. He believes in himself 1,000%, and screw you and screw the society. It's me all day long. Mm-hmm. And he's neutral. The concept of good and evil to Daffy Duck, I don't think even exists in his head. He is chaotic neutral. So if you have somebody that wants to play chaotic neutral in your game, and they know who Daffy Duck is, be afraid. Be afraid.
You're gonna have a hard time with that.
Yes. So that's the alignments.
So let's put that back up again. We'll show them the chart here right out of the first edition book. And this is in the player's handbook. So give us just a sec.
Standing by.
Ta-da. And just take a look at that. So you'll see that this represented often as a grid, 9 square grid is a pretty good way to represent that as well. And then we'll just get that pulled out. So aside from alignment, one of the other things that we get a pretty decent primer on here is the planes of existence. And so we really start to get some pretty nice information. And this came with the Immortals, where you're starting to deal with more multiverse or existential type problems.
Yeah, the in the box sets and the Immortals, and I think the Blue as well, talked about the different planes of existence. After rereading all this stuff, it's kind of hard for me to keep it separate in my head.
Because we've just been in it for the last couple months trying to get ready.
Yeah, so
pull out some information.
In 5th edition, they bring out a bunch of the different planes of existence, and there's a lot of monsters that are from outer planes or inner planes, and they have a lot of these different ones. And this is where they have a really good description of the big picture, so to speak.
Right.
Until we get to Planescape in the 2nd edition, where they broke out this concept of these different planes and made 2 milk crates worth of material to describe them and to play in them. And I freaking love them. There's 54 planes of existence with multi-levels and layers. It's fun. It's just a lot of fun.
It's fun until you step into a puddle and start.
Oh, you big baby.
Wow.
It's just a puddle.
So, yeah, thief, equipment. What was one of the big features of 1st edition? One of the things that stuck out to you, even after we've been able to muddy it up by going back through everything?
Well, I think making your character is... That's one of the other things I wanted to look at is, how do you make your character? But as I went through the different editions, it's just such a time-consuming process,
right,
that I wouldn't have the time how to make a character.
We need 800 hours worth of video.
Yeah, but in 1st edition, to me, making a character seemed very quicker than some of the others. 1st and 2nd edition are kind of quick.
They can be kind of quick. It's the thing that I liked about it was where they started to really allow you to tailor the character that you envision for yourself. And so being able to multi-class, now having class options that let you start to combine some things. There were still some restrictions in terms of certain racial elements that where they couldn't advance in certain classes beyond a certain point. And then you could also run into like stat limits and things that were meant to sort of separate what is a dwarf versus a human and that sort of thing. And we still see that with racial modifiers in 5th edition, but it's a lot less restrictive in the newer editions than it was back in the original game. But there was still a lot of... What's going on?
I don't know. He's typing.
Oh.
Mr. Producer.
Anyway.
give me the main camera here.
So, yeah. And then just being able to start to put those characters together. And now, we've got so many options in 5th edition, it just becomes a whole lot of fun to just dream up characters.
So then after Arcana, we have our first introduction to Barbarian. And where'd he go? He's right here.
He's right here.
He's right here. Where's the area? The Cavalier, which is not quite a paladin, but he's trying to be. And the Unearthed Arcana in 1st edition has a bunch of non-weapon proficiencies, lots of skills, and they also have weapon proficiencies and ways to improve your fighter's ability to fire multiple arrows at a time, swing your sword multiple times, different things like that. And then some of those non-weapon proficiencies get a Thief Acrobat. So this is where you get parkour, and you're able to scale buildings in a single bound and tightrope walk between buildings and blah, 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 blah. So the Unearthed Arcana, half of us for players, half of us for DMs, a couple new character classes, as well as a bunch of new skills and a bunch of new spells, which players always like.
And its introduction was really where we start to see expanding your character's background beyond what your character class is. So I remember it was like carpentry, and some of those skills are introduced.
Yeah, the non-weapon proficiencies, everything from animal husbandry to carpentry to the
locksmithing and those things, which could tie into what your character did in his adventuring role. but this Unearthed Arcana first edition was where we first see that concept.
Yeah.
We see it refined a little bit in second edition. In third edition, we have a full skills list. Similar in fourth, and then fifth edition, as part of the backgrounds, we see a lot of those still carried through. So, but that book really sort of set the tone for building a full character, not just a sort of archetype.
And like Art Sparkin was talking earlier, yes, you could die quickly.
Well, this part of I think it's one of the things that separates the players that have played the older system. You and I have had to have played like 8 million characters between us, because how many times I've been like, I rolled, I didn't see the trap, I got shot in the chest with a poison arrow.
So let's give you here is not the worst case scenario. This is an average. It happened a lot.
Yeah.
A first level magic user with a constitution so low he has no bonus.
Yeah, 10
Okay.
would be normal.
Okay.
Yeah.
His hit dice is a die 4.
Mm-hmm.
So by the book, you roll it and add your con bonus. So let's just say you max out and you get 4 hit points. That's what you need to survive. Now, I do want to point out also in the game that the dagger can do a die 6. A longsword will do a die 8.
Well, the large rat in the inn. Oh, brave adventurers, you have to help me. My basement's overrun with rats.
A great sword will do 3 die 6 plus strength damage.
Well, but I mean, it's literally the rat, the
rat
basic does a D4 bite damage.
Yep.
And so you're like,
so
all right, roll to hit. Well, you're standing there in a row, but it takes like a 4 to hit you. And
so as a magic user in first edition, you are not allowed to wear any armor. You can use magic like rings, robes, different things.
Protection spell,
Right.
shield spell, those sorts of deal.
But no physical armor.
Mm-hmm.
So you have 4 hit points.
And not a very hard number to hit.
I can't count how many first level magic users I buried. And thieves, because the thief has a die 6.
Yeah, not much.
Not much better. And the thief is the guy, he's up front, he's checking for traps, he's picking locks. You know, something explodes in his face all the time. So you're like, bam! Shit, I need another thief.
Yeah.
It just becomes a running joke. I can't even.
Well, then, I mean, so
we would start a first edition campaign back in the 80s when I was playing. We would not start a first edition game unless you had a minimum of 3 characters.
Rolled up and ready to go. Then we're going to play. Because the whole running gag where somebody dies and I'm here to defend my brother's name. I mean, you just right there.
You write dead across the character sheet. Everybody would loot the body, and bam, your brother's there. Because you could die just immediately.
I mean, if anybody's familiar with them, Viva La Dirt League has a lot of videos that are great, and their D&D videos right now are just some of the best. And they've got a video just like that.
Oh, I'm Fulgrim. I'm here to defend my brother's name, as I live and breathe.
Yeah, it's like, I was leaving my brother. Yeah, dude, check him out. Viva La Dirt League on YouTube. If you like Dark Souls, Call of Duty, PUBG, D&D, a ton of
they're
fantastic
hilarious
stuff.
Yeah, I want to grow up to be them someday.
But they've got some great videos, and it's been a trope in D&D because the earlier stuff was super deadly, and I mean you just lost characters, and it was one of those things that kind of sucked. An
arrow from a bolt from either a crossbow or a regular arrow from a bow was a die 6 in damage. I got 4 hit points. I get hit with an arrow. I'm at -2. Okay. Remember 0. I'm unconscious. I'm bleeding on the floor. I have -2. The only thing is going to have to be serious spells. Well, if I'm first level, everybody around me is first level.
Yeah, you're like, I have cure light wounds. What's it do? 1. Like 1 what? 1 die? No, 1. It does 1.
Well, that was the healing. Yeah.
No, but there was another like the lay on hands or whatever it was.
Yeah, cure light wounds would do a die 8, but there's others that would do 1 point.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lay here for a full day and rest. No, buddy, you're under 0. You're dying.
Yeah, you are. That's it.
You are continuing to die. Yes, make more characters because yes, you died. So I think we're getting to the end of first edition. I mean, there's a whole lot of things we could go into.
Yeah. Well,
Now, for our next show on June 12th, we're going to look at the cleric. We're going to go through every edition, looking at specifically that character class. So we're going to dig into a lot more details. We're going to do the cleric, the fighter, and the magic user, and the thief, and dig up very much details in each of the versions of the game, specifically for different classes. So just because we didn't talk about it here today doesn't mean it won't be covered in the future. I do encourage you to sign up, subscribe, click like.
Like, subscribe, follow, all the cool stuff.
Yeah, all of that stuff.
Oh, I forgot they also play D. Dang it.
Yeah, they play D&D.
Oh, there it is, the backstory level.
Yeah, they are.
So I'm gonna post this link up in the chat for everybody who wants to see it.
Yeah,
fantastic video.
Is that the one where they start in the tavern?
Yep.
That's just too funny.
How many times have we played that exact game?
Oh, how many of you have played a game where you start in the tavern? Okay, you're gonna recognize the game that they're playing. It's just too funny because it's real. It's happened to all of us.
Yep.
So like us, subscribe to us. I Want to Be a GM on Twitch, Discord, and YouTube. Everything we're doing here today, we're going to have on YouTube. We're going to break them up into small chapters like this to make it more viewable. Hopefully, some of the things that we covered today, everybody's going to like and enjoy.
Well, before we jump out, there's one thing that we did forget.
What's that?
Thaco.
Oh, Thaco?
The mystery of Thaco. Let me break out my my abacus.
Thaco is not that hard. Okay, so THACO is an abbreviation. It means to hit armor class 0. And there's a combat table that we would use back in the old days, first edition. And to hit armor class 0, your character, depending on his level, would have a target number to hit armor class 0. And if you were any good at math, then you could very quickly determine what the armor class was of your opponent.
Well, the lower the number, the better in the earlier games. So
yes,
it's one of the changes that happened in 3rd edition. All the math goes the same direction.
Yeah.
This was one exception. Lower the number, so you wanted like an AC 2.
Yep. So armor class would run, if you were standing there buck ass naked, you had an armor class 10.
Yep.
Well, and as you added clothing and armor, skills, you would get down to 0. And then the better, with magic armor and other magic defenses and stuff, or a really high defense on your dexterity, you would get to lower, where the best would be considered -10.
Yeah.
So that, if you understand that attack table is set up that way, then you understand why THACO, or to hit armor class 0, was a number that was important to you. Because as a player, if I say your THACO is 15, which for a first level fighter, I know that he uses a 15 to hit armor class 0. If I know my bad guy has an armor class 3, what do you need?
18.
There you go. So that's all there is to it. I don't know why a lot of people make such a big deal out of it. That chart does shift a little bit as you go up in levels, but
I think I was backwards. I think I needed a 12.
Huh?
It's fine. I think I did the math backwards anyway.
You did the math backwards?
Yeah, math backwards.
So wait a minute. So you have THACO of 15
to hit a 3. I would need a 12.
Okay. Yeah, he did the math backwards, and I didn't catch that. I don't really call it THACO anymore.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that I do as a DM behind the screen that I don't mention to the players. What's going on? The DM screen is, I consider it as the mystery of life. Everything behind here you don't know yet. Everything out there has already happened, has occurred, it's written in stone. So if you are making a combat roll to attack somebody, you're gonna roll your dice, add up all your stuff, give me a target, give me your number, your finished number, and then I will tell you, yes, that's a hit, or no, that's a miss. Yeah. Or you almost hit him. Oh, you scratched his armor, you almost cut a buckle off. You know, things like that. But I don't say that, you know, because as experienced players, you would know. I'm a first level fighter. I know my THACO is 15, so you would figure out very quickly. This is one reason why I don't like it.
Yeah.
So if you're fighting somebody and he's wearing chainmail, that's an armor class 5. So if you go to roll to hit oh, that's a miss. Roll a hit. Oh, that's a miss. And then you realize that somebody's hitting on a 12. Well, you know that his bonuses aren't that, but you know then that this guy's armor isn't really what it seems to be.
Yeah, there's a lot of
so then you can use
mechanics.
The math and mechanics of the game, the THAC to figure out, oh, he's wearing magic armor, or he's not wearing whatever. Anyway, and you can still do that today with it. I mean, it's just the math is the same. It's just backwards.
Yeah, they flip the numbers so they all move in the same direction. But as it goes, again, find us Discord, Twitch, YouTube. I want to be a GM and keep the conversation going. Hang out with us, help out if you can. But we're going to take a short break as we prep to get the books here off the shelf for 2nd edition. We've got a lot of different content that we're going to sort of expose you to. There's not a lot of rule changes between 1st and 2nd edition. There were some really cool refinements and some neat additions.
And a ton, literally a ton of new material to expand on everything.
Yeah, so as the game's popularity ramped up, there was a lot of stuff that we borrow from that you still see get borrowed from in newer editions. And so we're going to show you those books more than some of the core books of 2nd, simply because it's very similar to 1st. So give us a minute. It's this huge stack here in the middle behind me, and it's going to take us just a second to be ready. So we'll see you on the other side of the break.